Right now, in this exact moment, you're being sorted. Not by God, not by karma, but by the actual vibrational frequency of every choice you've made when you thought no one was watching. And most of you are failing without even knowing the test exists. The Law of One speaks of something called the harvest. And if you've heard that term before, you probably think you know what it means. Ascension, frequency, the shift, fifth dimension consciousness, and you've made it safe. You've made it comfortable. You've turned the most confrontational spiritual concept in modern mysticism into a participation trophy for buying crystals and thinking positive thoughts. But that's not what the harvest is. Here's the illusion you're living in. You believe spiritual evolution is about becoming something you're not. You think the harvest is an event outside of you, a cosmic occurrence, a galactic intervention, something that happens to you while you meditate and manifest and wait for the shift. That belief keeps you passive. It keeps you safe. And it keeps you exactly where you are, because the harvest isn't coming. The harvest is now. It's been now your entire life. Every moment you've been alive, you've been standing in a field of choice, and the question being asked isn't, are you good enough? The question is, are you willing to see? In city, where you currently live, where separation seems real, where you identify as a separate self navigating a world of other separate selves, to fourth density, where you begin to perceive the unity beneath the separation. But here's what no one tells you. The harvest isn't a test of your worthiness. It's a revelation of your choice. It's not about being pure enough, spiritual enough, healed enough. It's about whether you've chosen, in action, not in theory, love, or fear. Service to others or service to self. Unity consciousness or separation consciousness. And the terrifying part? Most people don't know which one they've actually been choosing. Imagine you're standing in front of a mirror your entire life. But the mirror doesn't show your face. It shows your choices. Every time you chose comfort over truth. Every time you chose distraction over presence. Every time you saw suffering and looked away. Every time you felt the pull toward love and chose the safety of separation instead. Okay? And you're standing in front of that mirror, and you can't look away anymore. You're not being judged. You're seeing. You're seeing the pattern of what you've actually chosen, beneath the story you told yourself about who you are. That's the harvest. It's not punishment. It's clarity. And clarity, for the unprepared, feels like fire. You already know this is true. You felt it. Those moments when you're alone, when the distractions fall away, and you feel that uncomfortable truth rising in your chest. The awareness that you've been living in avoidance. That you've been spiritually bypassing your way through life. That you talk about oneness, but you live in judgment. You talk about love, but you live in fear. That discomfort, that's not anxiety. That's your soul showing you the gap between who you say you are and who you're actually being. The harvest doesn't care about your intentions. It responds to your frequency. And your frequency is determined by your choices, not your beliefs. Now here's where it gets deeper and uncomfortable. The Law of One says that in order to graduate to fourth density consciousness, you need to be at least 51% service to others oriented. 51%. That's it. Barely more than half. You don't need to be a saint. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to have chosen love and service more than you've chosen fear and self-interest. And most people reading that think, okay, I've got that covered. I'm a good person. I help people. I care. But do you care when it's inconvenient? Do you serve when no one's watching? Do you choose love when it costs you something? Or do you perform service when it feels good and withdraw when it doesn't? Because the ego is brilliant at masquerading as the heart. It'll donate to charity and post about it. It'll be kind to people who can offer something in return. It'll love conditionally and call it unconditional. And it'll keep you convinced you're on the path while you remain fundamentally unchanged. But here's the twist no one talks about. There's another path. The law of one is clear. You can also harvest into fourth density through service to self. If you're 95% dedicated to the path of control, domination, manipulation, and separation, if you've consciously chosen power over love and pursued it with total commitment, you also graduate. Let that land for a second. The universe doesn't punish you for choosing separation. It just reflects your choice back to you with absolute clarity. If you want to explore consciousness through domination, you get to. You'll move into a reality where that's the dominant frequency. And you'll continue that path until you've learned everything it has to teach you, which, according to the law of one, eventually leads you back to unity anyway, just through a much longer, much darker road. But here's the trap most people fall into. You're not on either path. You're not 51% service to others, and you're not 95% service to self. You're in the middle. You're lukewarm. You're spiritually aware enough to know the concepts, but not committed enough to live them. You're too afraid of the dark path to go there fully, and too attached to comfort to surrender into the light. And that middle ground? That's third density consciousness. That's where you repeat the cycle. That's where you stay. The harvest is not a judgment. It's a mirror held up to the soul, asking one question: what have you chosen? Not what you believed, not what you intended, not what you hoped for or meditated on or affirmed in the mirror. What did you choose? In the moments when no one was watching, in the moments when it hurt, in the moments when you had to pick between your comfort and someone else's dignity, between your convenience and the truth. The field has always been here. The choice has always been yours. The harvest is simply the moment you can no longer lie to yourself about which seeds you planted. So here's the truth that reframes everything. The harvest isn't about waiting for the right moment. It's not about the Earth's vibration rising or the solar flash or the galactic alignment. Those may be catalysts, containers, cosmic conditions, but they don't do the work for you. You are the harvest. Your awareness, your choices, your willingness to see yourself clearly and choose differently. Every moment you choose love over fear, you harvest yourself. Every moment you choose truth over comfort, you harvest yourself. Every moment you choose presence over distraction, service over selfishness, vulnerability over performance, you are actively participating in your own evolution. The harvest isn't a future event. It's the cumulative result of every choice you've made and are making right now. And the question isn't, will I make it? The question is, what am I choosing in this moment? So how does this change the way you live? You stop waiting. You stop preparing. You stop consuming spiritual content as if it's going to save you. You stop pretending you're awake while living asleep. You start asking yourself in every situation, is this choice rooted in love or fear? Am I choosing unity or separation? Am I serving life or am I serving my ego? And you get honest, brutally honest. Because the harvest isn't fooled by your spiritual persona. It doesn't care how many books you've read or how much inner work you claim to be doing. It responds to what you are, not what you say you are. Here's how you begin. 1. Every morning, before you reach for your phone, ask yourself, what is one way I can serve something beyond myself today? Not in a grand way, not in a way that gets recognition, in a small, invisible, real way. Notice when you're choosing comfort over truth. Notice when you avoid a difficult conversation, when you stay silent in the face of injustice, when you choose distraction over feeling. That noticing is the beginning of change. Practice seeing everyone you encounter as yourself in a different form, not as a concept, as a lived reality. The person who cuts you off in traffic, the person who disagrees with you online, the person whose suffering you'd rather not see. What if they were you, living a different story? Stop performing your spirituality. Stop curating your awakening for an audience. Do the inner work in private. Choose love when no one's watching. Serve without needing credit. That's where real transformation happens. Get comfortable with discomfort. Real growth doesn't feel like bliss and light. It feels like shedding skin. It feels like facing the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. The harvest isn't a reward for feeling good. It's a reflection of your willingness to be real. You're not reading this by accident. You know something's shifting. You feel it. The old ways of being don't fit anymore. The old stories don't satisfy. The old distractions don't work. That's not a crisis. That's the harvest, calling you awake. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to be willing. Willing to see. Willing to choose. Willing to stop waiting for someone else to save you and start participating in your own evolution. The field is here. The choice is yours. The harvest is now. So what are you going to choose? If this stirred something in you, if it cracked open a question you've been avoiding, stay with me. This conversation doesn't end here. We're going deeper, into the places most spiritual teachers won't go, into the truths that actually change you, not just the ones that make you feel better. I'll see you in the next one.